You are not lazy. Procrastination has almost nothing to do with willpower and almost everything to do with fear. You're not bad at managing your time either. When you put off the one thing you know you should do, the thing you actually want to do, your brain is running a survival program written long before the first city, the first written word. You know the moment. There's a task in front of you, something that matters, maybe something you even care about deeply, and instead of starting, you open another tab, you check your phone, you clean a kitchen that was already clean, you tell yourself you'll do it tonight, tonight becomes tomorrow, tomorrow becomes the night before it's due, when you finally do it in a burst of panic, and quietly swear you'll never do this again. And then you do it again. And somewhere in that loop, a small, cruel voice repeats the same three words every single time. What's wrong with me? Here's what you've been told your whole life. That this is a discipline problem, that you're lazy, that you just need to try harder, want it more, manage your time better. So you buy the planner, you download the app, you build the color-coded schedule, and it works for about 3 days before you're right back where you started. Now with one more piece of evidence that something is broken in you. But every one of those fixes is aimed at the wrong target, because procrastination was never a time management problem at all. In 2013, two researchers, Fuschia Sirois and Timothy Pychyl, said it in one sentence that rewires everything. Procrastination is not a failure to manage your time. It's a way of managing your emotions. Think about the half second right before you avoid something. The task makes you feel something first, a flicker of anxiety, self-doubt, boredom, the quiet dread that you'll try and it still won't be good enough. And your ancient protective brain does with that feeling exactly what it was built to do with any threat. It makes you run, not from a predator in the grass this time, from a feeling in your own chest. Procrastination is you, fleeing a lion that lives inside you, and it always runs in the same direction. Toward right now, because your brain was shaped by a world where the future barely existed. Survive the night, and tomorrow could look after itself. So it learned to care about this moment far more than the days to come. And there's a study that shows just how deep that goes. The psychologist Hal Hershfield slid people into a brain scanner and asked them to imagine themselves today and then 10 years from now. And when they pictured their future self, the region that lit up wasn't the one that lights up for you. It was the one that lights up when you think about a stranger. Your brain, quite literally, sees the person you'll become tomorrow as someone else, someone who isn't entirely real. So look at what procrastination actually is. Present, you feels a stab of fear. And to make it stop, your brain hands the whole problem to a stranger in the future, one it doesn't quite believe exists, and buys itself one more hour of feeling okay. It isn't laziness, it's a trade. A very old, very human trade, comfort now, paid for by someone you haven't become yet. And underneath the fear of the feeling, there's often an older fear still, the fear of failing, because here is the brutal little truth your brain has guarded for 200,000 years. If you never truly begin, you can never truly fail. An unwritten book can still be a masterpiece. An unstarted dream can still come true. The moment you start, you risk discovering you're not enough. And for an animal that survived by belonging to a group, not being enough wasn't embarrassing. It was dangerous. So the brain protects you the only way it knows how. It keeps you off the field entirely. Which means procrastination isn't the opposite of caring. Very often, it's proof that you care too much, that the thing matters so deeply, the chance of failing at it feels like a threat to who you are. Your brain isn't broken, it isn't weak, it's doing, with terrifying loyalty, the single job it was built for, keeping you away from pain and away from risk. The problem is that it's guarding a modern to-do list with a Stone Age alarm, one that can't tell the difference between a saber tooth in the dark and an unanswered email. So the next time you freeze, the next time you simply cannot make yourself begin, try something almost no one does. Don't reach for the whip. Don't call yourself lazy. Get quiet instead and ask the only question that actually helps. What am I afraid of feeling right now? Because you were never fighting the task. You were fighting the fear underneath it. And a fear you can name is a fear you can shrink. You don't beat this with more shame. Shame is the fuel it runs on. You beat it with one smaller step and a little mercy for the frightened animal inside you that only ever wanted to keep you safe. And that mercy isn't a consolation prize. It turns out to be the actual way out. In 2010, 3 researchers followed students through their first year of university and found something that sounds almost backwards. The ones who forgave themselves for procrastinating before one exam went on to procrastinate less before the next. Not the ones who punished themselves harder, the ones who let it go. Because remember what you were really running from, never the task itself, but the bad feeling wrapped around it. And shame is just more of that feeling. So every time you call yourself lazy, you pour more dread onto the very thing you're trying to approach, and the loop only pulls tighter. Self-forgiveness cuts the fuel line. When the task stops being soaked in guilt, there's suddenly nothing left to run from. You're not letting yourself off the hook. You're taking the hook out, so that next time you can actually begin. And I can see you're still here with me all the way to the end. If there's something you've been putting off, the one that came to mind the second I started talking, leave it in the comments, not to be judged, just to say it out loud. That's where it starts to lose its grip. Because the fear hiding under procrastination has a cousin, one that doesn't wait for a deadline. It floods your whole body the instant you feel other people watching, judging. Why does embarrassment hurt so much? That's the next one. You were never lazy. You were just protecting yourself from something that was never really there.